Hi guys. Coming to you, I guess it's very early Wednesday morning. I got sucked into watching a show on Hulu. But I've talked to you recently. I haven't talked to you so recently about my accident, and I kind of left off in the middle. I don't know. But kind of dropped off talking about it there for a while. I think it's actually been pretty close to a month. So I've been thinking about writing a lot, what I'm doing right now personally a lot. I had kind of a semi-traumatic realization today about artificial intelligence and chat bots, and I really haven't been digging into the information about that because I was afraid it was going to freak me out, and that's pretty much exactly what it's done. But anyway, I digress. I think the last thing I had talked about, as far as my accident is concerned, was that I had a really big laceration in my foot. That had to be treated over a series of months. I was doing physical therapy and occupational therapy. The occupational therapy was pretty horrible. I was trying to fix the range of motion of my right arm, but my physical therapy was pretty minor because I couldn't really walk due to my broken ankle and this huge laceration. I couldn't be weight bearing. And so I want to say February, like early February, as I've had some more time to come to and realize what's going on and learn what's happened to me, I get scheduled for reconstructive ankle surgery. And like my neurologist, who recommended, I'm pretty sure, my orthopedic surgeon in San Antonio, Ty Golitz, wonderful guy, great bedside manner for a surgeon. And I had never had major surgery before. I think at that point, the only thing that I had done where I had to, be put under anesthesia and be in a hospital overnight. Well, not that I had to be in a hospital overnight, but I had my wisdom teeth taken out. I want to say like my sophomore year of college, but my sophomore year of college in California, not in Texas. So anyway, the act of, not having any concept of what the level of pain was going to be, or, going under anesthesia. My mom, I don't know, other than having me because I was a cesarean section, a C-section. I don't think she's ever had surgery before where she's had to have anesthesia or be put under. And so I only really had my dad and his grotesque amount of surgeries to give me any sort of perspective on that. So anyway, I'm making this part longer than it needs to be. I was really nervous. And, I don't know if I said that part of my ankle bone, there's actually a little bone that comes over, I wish I could remember what it was called, and covers, cups almost over the ankle bone. Well, that had broken off and split into pieces. And so the initial surgical plan was that my orthopedic surgeon was going to go in there, get all the pieces back together, pin them, and then I was going to, have pins or screws or whatever he ended up using in my ankle for the remainder of my life, so thinking about you know, going through TSA, for example, and like always having the machine go off because I had metal in my body, or having to have one of those cards that say like, I'm not, you know, whatever, this is a medical device and I'm not doing something bad. So anyway, just kind of a general anxiety about all of that kind of stuff. So I remember that day, my parents got to take me to the hospital. And so we arrive and I'm very nervous. And, this is in my opinion, a really interesting kind of calculated part of my memoir that I'm writing. So maybe I won't tell you guys all about it. But the preoperative part, which is supposed to be pretty smooth, didn't go that smoothly for me. And so my anxiety, and like the tension just around the event, was really high. And so it turned out that, you know, of course, the surgery went well, and I didn't actually have to have any pins or screws or anything like that put into my ankle. That bone and where it broke, what he was going to have to do to reconstruct it, he decided was more insignificant than like putting it back together. So that was really interesting. So technically there's a part of my ankle bone missing that's supposed to be there, but I guess, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it hasn't completely changed my life in any way, other than it, you know, just the fact that it's a surgical incision, and, you know, I can tell you when the weather's going to change. Sometimes it will randomly hurt, even all these years later, just out of nowhere. Like I'll get up from the couch or a chair, or, you know, be walking around like shopping or something, and I'll all of a sudden just get a really sharp pain in my ankle that, you know, except, you know, with the barometer changing and the weather changing, it's very unexpected. So I never know really when it's going to happen. But that was a good result. But one of the things that happened from, of course, me having this open wound on my foot that's trying to heal, this broken ankle that I then have surgery on, I think I mentioned in the last video as well, I had a lot of muscle atrophy from not being able to move around a lot or do a lot of like intense physical therapy or exercises. And so, I mean, I kind of have said in the past, like I had to learn to walk again. And like, obviously, cognitively, I wasn't having to learn how to walk again, but it kind of felt like I had to learn how to walk again, which was very strange, as anybody I'm sure can imagine at 20 years old. And so, you know, there's a lot of things going on with my extremities and with my body. And I'm also trying to overcome this memory issue. I believe I mentioned I was in speech pathology in the last video. It wasn't, my speech was okay, but it was more like my cognition and my memory that I was working on. And so I think, again, I will save that part for another video. But that's kind of like the next step that happened in my journey of recovery. And it was a pretty significant one. You know, it was the first time I had stayed overnight in a hospital before, but after birth, of course. And, you know, being bedridden that first day, you know, being on IV medication with a, you know, happy little button. All of that was a new experience for me. at 20 years old after already taking in all of this trauma. So perhaps in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't really that big of a deal, but it really felt like a big deal to me. So yeah, it seems like the reception when I've been talking about this has been good. So I felt like I shouldn't stop the story in the middle. So if you guys have any questions, if there's anything you want to know, I'm happy to answer them. So comment below or you can send me a message. It's now quite early in the morning, so I think I'll go to bed. But I will talk to you guys again soon. Okay, bye.